Did I think I was done with unhauling for 2024? Yes. Did I then also find 2 more bags of books to unhaul? Also yes. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. So today is a video I was not planning on filming, I'll be honest. I'll put the big unhaul that I did where I unhauled nearly 100 books a couple months ago by the time you see this in the description. I thought I was done with unhauling for the year. At the time I'm filming this, we're getting ready to move. Hopefully by the time you see it, fingers crossed, we'll be settling into our new home. But in the process of getting the house ready, I found 2 more bags of books that I needed to unhaul that I did not realise were there. So we're going to go through these today. As always, when I do unhauls, if you gifted me any of these books, thank you so very much. I really do appreciate it. A lot of these books I really enjoyed. Some I gave 4 or 5 stars, but if I'm not going to reread a book, it does not go onto these shelves and it goes out into the world instead so that other people can enjoy them. So yeah, if you sent me any of these, thank you so much. It's not at all a comment on like you or how I feel about you or the gift or anything like that I'm unhauling these. I'm just not going to read them again so they can go out into the world. So I always get questions about where my books go when they leave me. So they will either go into the school library at the school where I work if they are middle grade or young adult. They also go to bookish friends who I will send a quick picture to see if they wanted the books. They get first refusal, and then anything else will just go to my local charity shop for someone else to find and enjoy. Right, I've got them split into, there's about 30 books here, so it shouldn't take too long hopefully. But we've got 1 non-fiction. We've got a stack of mystery thrillers. We've got a few literary fiction, a few kind of romancy ones, some classics, and then a small stack of middle grade and YA. So let's start with the non-fiction, as that's the only one, and that is Hidden Valley Road by Robert Kolker. This is a non-fiction, like I said, the true story of this family who had, I feel like they had like 6 boys. No, they had 12 children, and 10 of them, I think, ended up being diagnosed, 6 of the 10 Galvin boys were diagnosed with schizophrenia. And this looks at how their symptoms presented, how they were treated. This was in the 60s as well in America. And it kind of looks at how this kind of unfolded and what happened to them. This was tough reading. I did really enjoy it. I feel like I gave it like 4 or 5 stars. I can't remember when I read it, but as always, my GoodReads and my StoryGraph, there's the word, are linked in the description so you can go and have a look and get my full thoughts there. I really enjoyed this. I just won't read it again, so that's going out into the world. Then let's do literary fiction next. So we've got the Whistling by Rebecca Netley. I picked this up in a charity shop, I'm pretty sure, and it was okay. It was sort of a horror, sort of a ghost story. I do love this cover. It was unsettling, I'll give you that. So if you're looking for something in the darker months, you could try picking this up. Yeah, enjoyed it, didn't love it enough to keep it, obviously, so out that goes. I'm also unhauling my hardback of The Testaments by Margaret Atwood. This is probably a bit of a surprise if you've been here for a while, because you know how much I love Margaret Atwood. But I have a paperback copy of this that I'm keeping instead. This is just too bulky. I've read it a few times. I'm not going to pick up the hardback again, so again, this is going out into the world. A book that I DNF'd, this was really weird. This is a children's Bible by Lydia Millett. I think Chloe definitely sent me this, I think as part of a birthday or Christmas. And she said, yes, she did. Her little note's still in here. I am forcing this book on you because I need an educated opinion. It was weird. I'm just hoping the right weird for you to enjoy it, but no pressure. Yeah, I think I got like 30 pages into this very short book and was like, this is weird and I don't care, so I'm DNFing. And I messaged Chloe, I was like, does this get any better? And she's like, not really, so I DNF this one. This roughly is about a group of 12 kids that go on holiday with their parents. That's really as much as I can tell you. Also, I can't lie, the fact that the texture on this cover is like sandpaper. I don't want to touch it for very much longer. So yeah, that's going out. Woo. Okay, next up is Catherine House by Elizabeth Thomas. I really enjoyed this. This was part of my reread project for the year, and I think there are a couple of books in here that are part of that project, so I'll link the original video in the description. This is Dark Academia, set at Catherine House, which is a college in America or university in the UK. It's very prestigious, not many people get in, but if you do get in, you're not allowed to leave for the 3 years that you're there, and we're following, I want to say Inez, yes, as she goes to Catherine House. And I kind of don't want to say any more than that because you don't want to give away what's happening. I really enjoyed this the first and the second time. I can't see myself picking it up a third time, so that's going out. I also read Comfort Me with Apples by Catherine M. Valente. I read this, I think, in October or September. I feel like it might have been September actually. I will find it and link the appropriate vlog below so that you can see my thoughts. I've wanted to read this book for years because so many people are like, it's weird and the ending, and I love weird books with big endings. I read it, enjoyed it, gave it 4 stars, thought it was clever. It didn't blow me away. It might be because I clocked what was happening quite early on, but I did enjoy it. But yeah, check content warnings for that one. And then I'm also getting rid of Unhauling Madden by Phoebe Wynne. This was also part of the reread project. I loved this the first time, loved it slightly less the second time. It's also quite bulky. I feel like if I see like a nice paperback copy of this, I might grab it, but this big hardback can go out to the world. This is following a teacher in the 90s who gets a job, again it's Dark Academia, gets a job at a prestigious school in Scotland, and she goes and finds something strange happening at the school. Basically there's something weird going on underneath all of this kind of beautiful architecture. There's something dark lurking. Like I said, it's Dark Academia, it's a little bit gothic, really enjoyed it and would recommend. I just don't need to keep this copy. Then we're getting into mystery thrillers, and the first one I'm getting rid of is The Mysterious Case of the Alperton Angels by Janice Hallett. I actively disliked this book and I think I'm done with Janice Hallett. I don't want to get in too much of a rant. When I read it, I did do a spoiler-free and a spoiler-filled part of the review. Even looking at this book irritates me, which is doubly annoying because it's got the beautiful end pages. I think I'm done with this author, and so yes, I'm obviously getting her books out of my library. I'm also unhauling The Strange Case of Sally Diamond by Liz Nugent. I loved this book. It's totally different to the Janice Hallett one. I'd highly recommend this one. Check content warnings. Nothing else that I've read from this author has been as good, I will say, but I will try her next book. This is a mystery thriller. It's got things to say about society. I just thought it was done really well. One of my favourite books of the year. I read it last year, I think. But yeah, definitely recommend this one, but check the content warnings. Also Jane Doe by Victoria Helen Stone. I really enjoyed this one as well, but again, content warnings. And this is about a female serial killer. Would recommend this one, but yeah, that's going back out. I'm not going to read it again. I'm also unhauling A Deadly Influence by Mike Omar. I love his books. I love this book. This is part of the Abby Mullins series. I think there's 4 of them, and I would definitely want to pick up more of these next year and get like that series finished off. Really enjoyed this. Very, very dark. Again, content warnings. All of these thrillers are going to be kind of the same. I'm also unhauling Perfect Kill by Helen Fields. This is part of the Luke Kalanick series. Love that series. Gave 4 or 5 stars to all of the series. Highly recommend it. This is book like 6. Like it's kind of late into the series, I think. But yeah, really, really, really recommend that series. One that's been doing the rounds, but I was a little bit bored by, was The Old Woman with the Knife by Yu Beong Mo. I think. This was sent to me by the publishers. I'm really glad they did send it. I did enjoy it. I just think the premise, they could have gone a bit further with it. But yeah, this is about an assassin in her later years. So if that sounds like it's something that might appeal to you, I would suggest you pick it up. I'm also sending out Down by the Water by Elle Connell. I can't lie, I can't remember reading this book. I mean, I've cracked the spine, so I did read it. And when I was reading the back, I was like, oh yeah, because it's about a hen party, a hen weekend, and they're in like is it like a Scottish manor, Scottish castle, and people start dying. But like, I don't remember any of the details of this at all. So yeah, that was a book, and I read it. To quote Aoife from Pretty Purple Polka Dots, we are losing the light even though it is 11 in the morning. Apologies, this is the joy of filming in November. I'm also unhauling The Woman Who Lied by Claire Douglas. This one I found actively boring, I'll be honest, but if you're looking for a domestic thriller, Claire Douglas may be the person for you. One of my It's probably the most hated book I've read this year. I hope this is the worst book I've read this year, because I'm hoping November and December will be better. But Riley Sager's The House Across the Lake was one I also actively disliked. Again, I did a spoiler-free and a spoiler-filled part, I think, of my review, because I just needed to rant so badly. I did not like this book. Obviously, if you've liked any of these books that I've disliked, that's great, because reading is subjective. I really, really, really didn't like where that book went. One I really did like and would recommend, but this is an arc and I'm not going to keep it, is The Family Experiment by John Mars. This is already out, came out in May. This was an arc that I was very kindly sent by Book Break, so thank you to them. I loved this. This is like, it's chunky. It's over, yeah, it's nearly it's 450 pages. It's chunky, and also the text is like pretty small. But I flew through this in like 2 days. I could not put it down. And this is set in a world set in like a nearish future where it's become too expensive to have a child, and so a load of couples are put into this reality show where they are raising virtual children, and the prize for the winning couple is that they will be gifted enough money to have an actual physical child. And as always with John Mars, there are twists and turns, there are connections that you will not see coming. Again, check content warnings, but I really loved this. I need to get an actual finished copy, but yeah, really enjoyed that one. And like I said, that came out in May. That was an arc from earlier on in the year. Let's do classics, and then we've got middle grade, YA and romance to finish. 3 Agatha Christie books that I am unhauling is because I've replaced them with these beautiful editions here, as you can see. So I'm unhauling 13 Problems, The Body in the Library, and The Murder at the Vicarage. Some of these were gifted to me, so what I've done is transplanted the notes into these copies, but I just wanted matching editions for my shelf, so I bought those because I'm shallow and I'm unhauling these. These can go out into the world for somebody else to enjoy. And I'm also unhauling Great Expectations by Charles Dickens. I read this in October, so I'll link that vlog if you're interested. I had to teach this to my year 8s. We did do an abridged version, but I reread the whole thing just so that I had the context in my head. I don't like Dickens. The only Dickens I've enjoyed is Christmas Carol. Don't think it needs to be this long. It's not for me. So this very cute, I think this is the Wordsworth hardback edition, the Wordsworth Collector's Edition. This very cute edition can go into the world for someone to find and enjoy. Okay, let's do YA middle grade, which is all mixed in together, and then we'll finish with romance. Who am I reading that much romance in a year? But anyway, first of all, we've got The Chaperone by M. Hendricks. I remember enjoying this. I thought this was going to be dystopian, and it's actually religious cult. It says, in New America, girls are never alone, which might be scarily on the nose for right now. But yeah, it just says, embrace purity, navigate the world with care, respect your chaperone. And that's as much as I'm going to tell you. That is a young adult. Like I said, I thought it was going to be dystopian, but actually it's more of a religious cult kind of vibe. Do remember enjoying it. Another book I definitely loved was Ophelia After All by Rachel Marie. This was sent to me by the publishers as well. It's also sent to me by Book Break. This is going to go straight into the school library. And this is about a queer teenager growing up and kind of discovering herself. Absolutely loved it. I also really enjoyed The Sunbearer Trials by Aidan Thomas. Was this an arc? No, this is a finished copy I was sent. I need to continue this series, or duology. I think it might be a duology. And this is kind of Greek legends, or like myths and legends mixed in with kind of modern stuff as well. I did not explain that very well at all. I'll read you a little bit at the back. It says, welcome to the Sunbearer Trials, a competition between 10 of the very best semi-dioses, where the winner will be celebrated and the loser will be sacrificed. So it's kind of like Hunger Games mixed with Percy Jackson. We've got a queer, non-binary main character, trans character as well, and I really enjoyed this. And like I said, I need to read the rest of that, either series or duology, can't remember. I'm also unhauling Mary Poppins, the original story by P.R. Travers. If you didn't see in March, I dressed as Mary Poppins for World Book Day at school, and obviously I needed to read the original material before I did that, and I also took this copy with me on the day. It's now served its purpose. I'm not going to go on and read the rest, so this could go into the school library. Also headed into the school library is Hedge Witch by Skye McKenna, which I read in last year, I think, because also Wood Witch is in this stack, so let's do that together. So Hedge Witch is the first book in the series, and Wood Witch is the second book in the series. I loved and adored both of these books. They are following Cassie, who is she discovers in the first one that she's a witch, and then her adventures continue into the second book, obviously. And there's going to be a third one, which I think is Sea Witch, which is coming out. Yes, it says available from 2024, so I need to have a look and see if that's out yet, because I definitely want to read it. But these I know will just absolutely fly, no pun intended, out of the school library, and the kids will love those. I'm also unhauling and putting into the school library my copies of the rest of the Noughts and Crosses series. So we've got Knife Edge, Checkpoint and Double Cross. Can't remember what order they go in. I do love these editions, but having kind of not loved rereading Knife Edge, I just decided to unhaul the other two as well. So they will go into the school library. And then finally, for the school library, Taylor Swift, The Little People, Big Dreams. Charlotte was kind enough to gift this to me for my birthday. It was really cute and it's just really lovely. Look at these end pages. But this, like, I will be amazed if our librarian can kind of keep this on the shelf long enough in our school library. So yeah, that's going out to them. And then finally, we've got a small stack of romance books. Let's move that stack over there. So we have Do I Know You by Austin Sigmund Brooker. This was sent to me by the publishers. It was sent unsolicited, and it's about a couple, a married couple who are having a really difficult time in their relationship. And they go on like a make or break holiday, and they get mistaken for a couple on their first date, and so they decide to start dating each other as if they don't know each other, kind of thing. I got about 100 pages into this and was just really frustrated. Like, I hate when there's miscommunication. It's like one of my least favourite tropes. And if these two characters had just sat down and had a grown-up conversation from the beginning, none of the rest of it would have been necessary. So yeah, I did DNF it, but I feel like if you're not as irritated by the miscommunication trope, you'll probably love it. The writing was good. It just was not the trope for me. I'm also unhauling my arc of A Pirate's Life for Tea by Rebecca Thorne. I have got a gorgeous sprayed edges hard copy, finished copy up there that I pre-ordered, so I don't need to keep the arc, but I would highly, highly recommend this series. It's so cute, it's so cozy, it's sapphic, it's got dragons in it, this one's got pirates, it's got puns in it. Like, what else could you need? Highly, highly recommend. So far it's 2, but it's going to be a series. I'm also unhauling The Cornish Cream Tea Bus by Cressida McLaughlin. I was going to read this over the summer, didn't get to it. It's on Everand, so I will read this sort of kind of spring, summertime next year, but I don't need a physical copy hanging around on my shelves. Then I'm unhauling 2 books that I DNF'd in October. So we've got Assistant to the Villain and Apprentice to the Villain, both by Hannah Nicole Mahira. I still have not learned how to say this name. I know these have been huge, particularly on TikTok. I mean, look at the covers. They are just brilliant. But I read that one, gave it 3 stars. It probably should have been 2.5 because it bored me. And then I DNF'd about 50 to 100 pages into this one. So those are going out. Hopefully somebody else will enjoy them more than I did. A book that I am unhauling that I know loads of you are going to shout at me about because it's such a beloved series on Booktube, but I am unhauling A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas. Having tried to read it a couple of months ago for Chloe's Trash for Mass read along, I really tried. I read it physically, I tried it on audio, I couldn't get into it, I didn't care, so this one is going out. And then finally, a book that I read last month and did really enjoy, but I'm not going to read again, is At First Spite by Olivia Dade. As I said already, I'll leave my October vlog if you want to see my full thoughts on this. But this is an enemies to lovers romance, but do check content warnings because there are some heavy themes, particularly for clinical depression and death of a child in this book. But I did enjoy it, just not going to read it again. So hopefully somebody else will enjoy it. And that is the last unhaul for this year. I think. No, it definitely is. So if you got to this point in the video, leave me the strawberry emoji for the strawberries on, what's her name? Athena's dress, because I do love it. So leave me the strawberry emoji, just let me know you got to the end. Do you unhaul books? How do you manage your collection? Tell me all about that, because that's always really interesting to hear how other people do it. Please subscribe if you would like more of this chaos, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks everyone. Bye.